When I was dealing with pottery from the Southwest, I would go out there several times a year, and I would have to buy the work outright. That's the only time I ever really did, because it's very difficult when you're dealing with Native Americans living in pueblos without any electricity and certainly no cell phones. There weren't any then. To take their work away and not pay them until it gets sold and then send them the money back. So the pottery I bought outright, and I ended up with like $50,000 worth of inventory, and it's hard to keep that inventory going. So that was when I started to expand, and I thought, how will I expand? And I realized that since I was in college, I had been buying art from people off the streets. I just like really unusual, edgy stuff. And so I thought, well, I'm going to see if I can find some more street art and represent some of these artists who don't seem to have a way of getting into the mainstream galleries. And I'm good talking with people, so I can do this for them. Somebody at the Folk Art Museum in New York heard that I had the American Indian art collection and asked me to come and do a couple of lectures there. And when I did, they were giving a class on outsider art, and I had not heard the term before. And I thought, oh, that's what I've been collecting all these years. I used to be, in another life, a special ed teacher. So I felt like I was never put off with people who were dealing with any kind of emotional complications in their life. I could deal with them and I could help them, and I knew how difficult it would be for them to get their foot into the professional part of the world. It was a way of meeting wonderful artists and having them become part of my life, and also being able to help them by selling the work. This is a piece by Ronald Sloan, and it is a piece that I first saw in the hallway of his room when I went to visit him, and I referred to it as the piece with the doctor in it. And he said, that's not a doctor. He said, that's my mother, and her mouth is covered. And then I thought, oh my God, now I get it, because I have a lot of his art here, and when I got back home, I laid it all out on the floor, and I noticed this thing that mother is always there, but there were either written warnings on the page. One piece said, do not hear the forest burning. She's always got her mouth covered, so she was seeing the bad things that were going on in that house, but she was not talking about it, maybe for the sake of everybody's survival. My kids basically, everybody wants the quilt in the dining room, the weather vane over there, and a little bit of the pottery and the Edward Western photography, and they don't want any of the rest of it. I decided to stop collecting, I don't know, maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, when I had a daughter-in-law that was constantly saying to me, so do you have a list of museums that we can donate this stuff to when you're gone? I thought, okay, I'm getting the message. These are from a series called Children of a Lesser God, and they're dolls that are not meant for children. They should be framed and up on the wall, but I ran out of wall space a long time ago, so mine are just sitting in chairs. And in Europe, they're not so, there's a lot of overlapping of the categories, so it's just considered contemporary art, which is a much better thing. But if you're selling this kind of work and the clients are used to the terms art brut, which was the one Dubuffet chose, or outsider art, or self-taught art, or now they're calling it non-mainstream art, you have to use that language so that when the collectors come, first of all, so that they will find you, and then when they come, they know what they're going to be seeing. You can't really call it a field because the descriptions are about the artists, whereas every other field, the description is about what the artists are doing with the art. So it's not modern art, and it doesn't fit into any little category. Everybody that falls into the outsider art area, or the non-mainstream art, they're not doing prints, historiographs, or anything like that. Everything is a one-of-a-kind original piece of art.